Okay, there we go. Hello, YouTube. Hi, how are you? All right. So welcome to another episode of Pure Sessions with your girl Lana. So if you guys watched not this show, but watched me last night, um, on my main page under I forgot it. I forgot what I was about to say. Underline and pure, yeah. Thursdays. I mentioned last Friday that I was sorry, not Friday, Thursday. That on Friday I was doing a sax jam session. So I did the first one Friday and then I did the second one yesterday. And it was pretty good. I think the second one, the one I did yesterday, since I only did one song, was a little bit less stress because like I said, I've been practicing most of the songs, but I guess like I mentioned in the videos, when I'm practicing by myself, like not doing it live, it takes me like 30 minutes to do one song, and you have to worry about, the breathings and then the reeve getting messed up, and you gotta switch to reeves, and sometimes the notes are not tuned. So I think since this is episode 2 of the jam sessions yesterday, I think it's pretty cool. So I think going forward, until I kind of get a little bit better at, playing the instrument, I'll do one song per week versus two. I mean, I just kind of, it was kind of a little bit easier for me to learn those other two songs. It's kind of like the same notes over and over again. But with the one I did yesterday, it was just, the same notes, but it was still fun. I enjoy it. And also, it's a lot shorter than the podcast because I'm only doing it live. I'm not doing it on the audio. I'm not doing it on Spotify or Apple or SoundCloud. So it's like less editing and less time, but I enjoy it. I need to actually practice a little bit more because at the end of the episode yesterday, I kind of like forgot a couple of notes because I was showing a different song at the end, and I was like, "Oh man, I forgot that last note." But it's still fun. I mean, practice every day always makes things a little bit easier to do. But I feel like with this instrument, versus the trumpet when I was playing it, I feel like it was a lot of stress going towards it. Because I felt like I wasn't getting in and this was taking too long and it was frustrating and things like that. So I'm like, let me just, pick something else. And not that I quitted, not that I gave up on trumpet. I still have it. Once I get a little bit better at reading these notes and learning how to play, I'm going to go back to the trumpet. But I just felt like this instrument, there was like a better connection. You know how sometimes you kind of just connect with something easily? That's how I felt with the sax. So I enjoy it. But I will say, I'm glad I picked these few songs to start out with because I've looked up a bunch of different videos and watched tutorials on how to play the sax, how to do beginner notes, and how to do beginner songs and things like that. And there's a lot of music out there for this alto sax that I didn't know. Like I knew that, like with the songs that I like and the songs that I looked up, I knew that that instrument was in that song, but like I didn't know what major impact this instrument would have on the song. So now whenever I'm listening to certain songs or the songs I like or songs that I know is going to have a sax in it, I kind of like tune out everything else and just focus on the sax. I can like try to mimic that and try to play that and things like that. So it's pretty cool. I don't know. It feels like it's not like work. Like it's more of like a relaxing time, if that makes sense. Like when I'm doing music or the podcast or, writing. It's not like something like, oh my God, I can't get this. And this is like stressing me out. It's more so like, oh, let me go let me go play the sax because it's relaxing and calms me and it soothes me and things like that. And I kind of been slacking, for the last couple of days, but I've been trying to play more often than um, every other day. I need to go back to doing it every day for 3-4 hours if I can. Um, but yeah, so that's with that. So that's on Wednesdays now. I did it on Friday because I just wanted to see how I did it last Friday because I just wanted to see how it would play out. But now going forward will be every Wednesdays at 8 o'clock. And tonight will be the new show podcast for Pure Sessions on Thursdays at 8 instead of Sundays. I kind of gave it like a week trial because I wasn't sure if I was going to keep it on Thursdays, but it just seems to kind of flow, with everything else that I'm doing in my life or not doing. So it seems to be easier. But yeah, so you can only see I posted it on my Instagram, not this page. I do the sax jam sessions on Lana and Pure's page, not Lana and Pure's corner. So I didn't want to have too much things on this page because I already have the podcast. So I just do that. But it's the full video is on Lana and Pure's page, and on YouTube at Lana and Pure. But for the podcast, you can still find that, everywhere. I'm not really on every platform, but like social media platforms, but my podcast is. So it's on YouTube, Lana and Pure. It's on Instagram, Lana and Pure's Corner. It's on SoundCloud, Apple, Spotify. I think there's another one, but I can't remember which one it is. But they're all over the place. So you can definitely check that out. I think since I started this, I guess, chapter 2 of doing the podcast, because I've been doing it since before January, I think. And before I was just strictly just reading chapters from my book. So since like I think January 1st, the first Sunday when I was doing it back then of January, these have been all lives. So it's actually been fun. I didn't know how it would work doing the lives because before like I was just doing the audio version of the podcast, but it seems pretty cool doing the lives. Like I mentioned before, I've been trying to get on other shows or have guests come on or do, like the Instagram virtual thing. But I think with doing the lives, like I mentioned a couple of times, a little bit more personal because you can kind of like see the person's reaction to things you're talking about or see the person, kind of get that more one-on-one feel versus just listening to somebody talk over and over and over again kind of gets redundant. Nothing wrong with just having your podcast on the audio, but sometimes it's nice to get like a break if you can help it. Like trust me, it would be nice to just do the audio, but I kind of fallen into step with doing the lives as well too. So it's pretty cool. So I like it, but I feel as if I've kind of like grown just like a little bit from um the beginning of doing the lives in January till now, especially with my self-confidence, eye contact and, speaking up and things like that, because I'm painfully shy. So even doing this and having the cameras is kind of like, no, but it's pretty fun. It's pretty interesting. I like it. It's something new and something that has kept my interest up and kept me busy this whole time for COVID. No, since I rambled for forever. So just recap, and I mentioned at the end, saxophone jam sessions every Wednesday live on Lana and Pure's page on Instagram and Lana and Pure on YouTube. And every Thursday at 8 for Pure Sessions is at 8 o'clock on Lana and Pure's Corner and Lana and Pure on YouTube. I feel like it's easier that way because you don't have to worry about having too many things on different pages and it makes things less complicated. So for today's episode, since I talk for like 10 minutes like I normally do, Lord, today's episode is titled, there we go, Staying Humble. Now I know that kind of sounds kind of like broad, like just like I mentioned last week with last week's episode was titled Accepting Your Circumstances. But with this, I kind of wanted to talk about it because sometimes I know I have, we often forget to not be one with ourselves or not come like be wholehearted or have an open heart, but sometimes we kind of lose sight of what's in front of us and we kind of want to keep going and going and going. And we kind of like pieces of ourselves are chipping away one piece at a time without either of us knowing, or we do know and we just don't care because we want to get to the finish line, or we're allowing this energy or this person or this thing to take hold of us that's kind of like pulling ourselves. Nothing wrong with being pulled out of your comfort zone or your element, but sometimes when we're so busy trying to catch that dollar or trying to catch that bag or trying to catch, something that doesn't need to be caught, we kind of like not forget who we are, but sometimes we just focus on the wrong things. Um, and that's why I mentioned before, like with me, and the reason why I picked these certain topics, these certain titles, because of things that I've gone through and things that I kind of know about. Like not everything, I don't know everything, but I try to pick topics that I can speak on, so it kind of becomes more personable than just ranting about something. But for me, I try to stay humble when I can because I get flustered very easily. I'm a very big overthinker, so I try to, if I can, at least once a week, try to center myself with something that I know that I can control. Because a lot of things that I try to handle, and like everybody, we try to handle that's bigger than us that we think we can handle more of, and sometimes we can, but sometimes it's not always healthy at the same time. If that makes sense. Like if we're doing 5 or 6 different things that we're not used to doing, it's okay to try new things. And it's okay to grow, and it's okay to, step a little bit further to your goal and what you're trying to do. But if we're really forgetting who we are and it's kind of like gnawing at us, because like, you have that that feeling, that gut feeling, that head feeling, that queasiness, that weirdness of something that's that's not right, but more so that's not meant for you, because everything isn't meant for you. Even though we want it to be, everything isn't meant for us. And sometimes if we, pull back, as they said, the love goggles, or pull back the glasses or the curtain, we see, oh, this really isn't for us, but we're just doing it because 9 times out of 10, we'll learn it later on. But mostly for me, I tried to look at things at all angles. You know how they say the glass is half full. I'm more so like, let me just see what happens if I try this, and let me see what happens if I try that. Let me see what happens if I do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and maybe not so much of this and not so much of that. But I don't mind trying new things, or stepping out of the zone. But sometimes it just feels like we're always there's always a piece of us that's being pulled in many different directions, and it feels like, but what are we really gaining out of it? Like, if you're doing something that taking all of your energy, right, and taking all of your time and taking all of your emotions, and you have to always explain yourself, and it's just back and forth, and really, what's the point? Because you're only just explaining the same thing over and over again, just in different situations, but it's not really helping anybody because you have to keep explaining it. So it's really nothing's really changing, if that makes sense. And I feel like a big part of that, at least for me, I mean, not now because it's COVID, but before, when you could do stuff, be around people and go out and blah, blah, blah. It's really like the energy you keep, the people you're around and things like that. But I feel like when we are around the same people, not the same people, but we're all around people that kind of aren't on the same wavelength as us. Nothing wrong with, like I said, stepping out of your friend zone, or stepping out of what's new. But sometimes people don't have their best at heart, and it could be unintentional. It could be just because they're just like that. It could just because they don't know any better. But sometimes it's up to us, being the big person, being the adult, to kind of like step away and be like, okay, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I'll be around this person for this thing. Like, maybe they're only not only good for it, but maybe we'll only interact for business, or we'll interact for this or that, not just like 24/7. Because I always said, I think 2 episodes ago, 3 episodes ago, I don't remember. You always want to keep, your aura, your space, your energy, your time, not in a not what is it, closed off, but just on watch, because you don't want to let everybody into your aura, into your vibe, into your time, because sometimes it's not worth it, and it's harmful at the end of the day. Because sometimes we don't know. Like, I know when I was in college, the first school that I went to, I was so desperate to make friends, because it's your first time being away from home. It's your first time, not having your parents, or not having the curfew, blah blah blah. You're away from home for like the first time, and I was so desperate to find friends, and so desperate to like fit in. As you're just doing anything, you're just going to party, like going to class, the normal, typical college thing, And it just got to the point where I'm just like, well, what am I really doing? Like, what? Like, outside of not going to class, I mean, I did go to class, but not so much. But sometimes I felt like I'm doing so much, but I'm like, I'm not really getting anything. I feel like, when you're like, say, for instance, if when I first started doing music last year, I guess it's been 2 years, last year, I felt like, how come I'm not getting, as many likes, or as many tweets, or many retweets, or many buys, or many collaborations as somebody else's? And we're like, we're the same type of person. We're starting off at the same time, but it's like, why am I not getting the feedback that I want? And that was a big part of why I stepped off of social media back in the new year, because I'm like, there's no point. It came to the point where I was just always not miserable. That sounds too dramatic, but I was always, what is it? I was always comparing myself to everybody else's success. And everybody does it because we're human. But I felt like if we're at the same level, like, of success, or the same level of grind, or whatever you want to call it, it's like, why what are they doing differently that I'm not doing? Or what should I be doing that they're not doing? Like, we're always competing with everybody else, when more so we should be competing with ourselves, because that's the biggest critic. I mean, I feel like social media kind of puts like this bubble around like what's really happening in reality, and what's really going on, versus making it seem like everything is okay and everything's good, but sometimes it's not really that. I mean, even though somebody can be posting 5, 10 different pictures of them being here, or having this car, getting this promotion, doing this job, or whatever, but you don't really know what happened 5 minutes before it's just a picture, or what happened as soon as they took that picture, or what happens later that night or the next day, you don't know. They're only showing you really what's um happening in the now. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, nothing wrong with showing your success and showing what you're doing that's bettering yourself and bettering your people around you and bettering your energy, because we always want to grow. And I mentioned that too last week, of not staying stagnant, because sometimes, and I know I've been guilty of it, we're being comfortable. Like, everybody wants to be comfortable with where they are. Nobody wants to really be like outside the bubble, being not comfortable. But there's nothing wrong with cutting people off. Nothing wrong with um, lessening, condensing your friends or condensing your circle. Nothing wrong with, is it like focusing on what is it? Focusing on what you need to do for yourself to get better, focusing on what you need to do to grow and thrive and things like that. Because oftentimes when you shut out the noise and shut out the whateverness, things kind of look a little clearer. Things kind of seem to be things that are important, that need to be important, that need to be in your life right now, that need to be focused on, will still be there once you, once you block everything else out. And sometimes people get offended when you do that, but it's not like you're trying to be different or act all brand new or whatever it is. You're just focusing on yourself. And I feel like everybody should be entitled to wanting to focus on themselves or wanting to do better and wanting to grow. And they don't need to, like, you shouldn't have to, what is it? You shouldn't have to always explain yourself when you're trying to do better, if that makes sense. Because if it was reversed, I guarantee the person's not doing the same thing, explaining themselves over and over and over again, when in reality, they just want to focus on this little bubble or focus on this little part of themselves and then get better. And there's nothing wrong with taking that hiatus and then coming back later to it. But I feel like sometimes when people see that you're trying to grow and people see that you're trying to change, people see that, you want to do better than what's like right in front of you. You want to do better for, like, the future and the next generation. People start acting funny, and I'm not really sure what that's about. I feel like everybody should want to see their friend or their companion or their whatever grow and get better. I think that's really what it should really be all about. I mean, all that sounds corny, but I feel like all the extra all the extra noise, all the extraness is really unnecessary, because everybody got to eat. Everybody needs to survive. And I don't really see the problem with, from my opinion, from what I've seen, with people, taking that second look at themselves, taking that second look at their surroundings, taking that second look at their job situation, taking that second look at, who they keep, in their circle, because that's really important, who you keep in your circle, like the coreness of your circle, not like the people you just see every now and then, but the people you work with, people you live with, people you interact with, whether it's a business thing or a friendship thing, or if you're even working together. That's a big thing too. Even if you're like co-owners on something, or you're like collaborating on something, whether it's music or dance or engineering or editing or mastering, a lot of ideas can flow into that, but sometimes it kind of gets a little choppy, because everybody always wants to put their 2 cents in when it's not always needed. That makes sense. So I always feel like if we can somehow, after all that, at the end of the day or what have you, can kind of get back to, what's really important, what really matters, what's not at stake, but what really is worth your time, your energy, your aura and things like that, then I feel like things would be a lot better when you're trying to do your daily to day thing. And that's why I say try to stay humble if you can. I mean, I know sometimes it's hard, especially with this past year and some change. I definitely know that for a fact. But I feel like if you could just be yourself and that be okay, and that just be okay, then I feel like all the extra noise and all the extraness would kind of like fade away and things like that. And not have to be so not stressful, but like so much energy, because everything does not need to be not energized, or what is it, not needs to be discussed, if that makes sense. And oftentimes, at least for me, when I'm like in like that funk or in that mood or just in that zone, I just kind of just gravitate towards music, or gravitate towards writing, or gravitate towards now playing the sax because it's relaxing, like I said before, or even doing those adult coloring books, or those adult what is it called, was it big print, like a crossword. Yeah, was it a crossword, search word puzzles and things like that. Sometimes it's okay to just do things that kind of don't stimulate your mind and kind of just make you just like forget about everything else. It's okay to just kind of like tune out things just for a bit, not forever, but just for a bit. Oftentimes people think like, oh, where'd you go for like 3 days, or where'd you go for a weekend? While I was working on myself, like, what were you doing? Sometimes we're so busy worried about the next person and what they're not doing, what they should be doing, what they're not doing enough of, or what they're doing too much of. And sometimes when you're, I guess, looked at as doing too much, then it's like a problem. But then when you're not doing enough, then it's also a problem. So it's kind of like, where do you fit in? Like, you either are doing too much and people say stop it, or you're doing not enough. People are like, well, where's the rest of it? But then when you are doing what you should be doing, which is focusing on yourself and trying to get better and grow and things like that, people look at you like, oh my God, what is that? Who she thinks she is, who they think he is. I'm like, but 5 days ago, you were just saying congratulations on my page. Now you're just like, oh, she's doing too much. Or, oh, that's not real. I'm like, I don't get it. It's a lot of energy wasted on social media, in my opinion. That's why I try not, if I can help it, I try not to be on it outside of doing the SAC sessions now and the podcast. Now, I mean, well, for a couple of weeks I've been on TikTok. At the kind just got it stuck to me in. I was literally trying to use one of the features or filters, not features, for the filters for a video, and I had to go on TikTok to get this precise filter. And then as soon as I went on TikTok to get this filter, I kind of it's now 2 weeks later, so I'm like, well, okay, that now I'm on TikTok, but I don't really use it for like what everybody else uses it for, just to post random things. I guess I'm just on it just because. But I try not to be on social media if I can help it, because it doesn't really do it for me now as I've gotten older. That's why I took the hiatus. But as I've gotten older, it doesn't really do much for me, really. Like, I used to be one of those who be like, oh my God, if I'm not on here, excuse me, if I'm not on here, every hour on the hour, I'm missing something. If I'm not scrolling through this or subtweeting this or retweeting that or doing this and things like that, then like, what's the point of me not being on here? But now I'm just like, oh, I'm not on social media for a couple of days. Okay, I'll live. It's okay, because everything literally will still be there. Nothing really will change. It's a different post. And that's what I noticed when I came back from being off social media for like 2 weeks up until the new year. Literally nothing changed. Literally everything was the same. And even now, when I do the shows, both shows, I log out of Instagram, and I don't even think I have Twitter anymore. Well, I have it, but I'm not on it. I don't even think is Facebook still a thing. I'm not really sure. But when I log out of Instagram, I go to, the settings, and do the offload and offload the app. So it's there, but it has like the little cloud thing. So I offload the app. So I don't even look at it. So literally from right now, I'm on it Wednesday and Thursdays, but outside of Wednesday and Thursdays on Instagram and all that other stuff, I'm not on it those other 5 days. And it's like, I'm okay. I'm still going to be okay if I'm not on here all the time. So it took me a lot, because I used to be a big, heavy, I guess, social media person. But when Facebook was big, Twitter was whatever, back when MySpace was a thing, and AOL and AIM and Yahoo with that little purple thing. But now I'm just like, okay, it's whatever. And that's why when TikTok was like big, I mean, it's still big, but not like as important now. But when TikTok was like, oh my God, I was just like, no, I'm like, this is like another app, just be on here now. I don't understand. And then when Snapchat, that was the thing. I was on that for forever, but I'm just like, I don't understand this. I'm just here just because it was just stupid. But now for Instagram, I guess I have to be on it more, since I'm trying to build the brand, since I'm trying to build, what I'm trying to do. What was it? Last month or a month ago or 2 months ago? I don't remember. But anyway, it was on my show, not on Therapy Without a Degree, but it was on my show, and I had Joe on, and it was on social media. That was the topic was. It was like 2 months ago. And we were talking about the pros and cons of social media, and, is it good to have it? Is it not good to have? Like, where to post, what not to post? Like, is it really helping your cause or not helping your cause? And it was an insightful conversation, because like, there are ways you can use social media to your advantage, and there are ways just to be on social media, just to be on social media. And for me, I didn't know like the balance between that. I kind of was just on on it just because. And for him, he does the Everybody Agree, which is also his podcast. He has Jersey Media, which is his label for the podcast, and he does, other things. He also does coaching and branding and things like that. And I'm just like, you're always on here, but I see that the progress is working. You get the followers up, you get your network is building, the brand is building, you get the website building, so you get to showcase things. And I guess it's just really, how you use social media to your advantage, like what time to post, when to post, what not to post, when to put this on your story, what to say. I think it's all about content. And for me, I would just be posting random things that had nothing to do with anything. So I'm like, what am I missing? Like, how do you have these many followers? And I'm just like, womp. But since we started working together a month ago, a couple months ago, I don't remember, I have actually seen some good progress, not just like me just soaking because everybody else has all these likes and these followers and things like that, but actually seeing good content and people actually reaching out who want to, know more about the podcast and want to know more about the music and know more, info, on the website and things like that. So I do see there is a good social media. So I'm not really on it. He's just on my page doing all that stuff, which is cool because he's a coach, he's a brand, he does all that. I'm just like, I'm just here. Just let me know what you need and I'll give it to you. And then that's fine. But other than that, I'm like, I don't even want to look at social media outside of Wednesdays and Thursdays. And it's really what it is now. And I know it seems small, I mean, at least for me, but I actually am almost at 2,000 followers. Yes, it's very low, but for me, that's a lot because before I would have like nobody because I would just be following like a bunch of random people. I'm just like, oh, I like this picture. Oh, I like her clothes. I like his shoes. So it'll just be, but I think there's a way to do it the right way that gets you the right content followers and gets you the right people who are looking at your page. Because what I'm trying to do is build the podcast episodes, building the saxophone jam session episodes, and now broadcasting and showing the music and as well as my website, which also you can find in my bio on Lana and Pure and Lana and Pure's Corner at www.ldpentertainment.com. You can find I just updated it actually today. I tried to update it once or twice a month, but I kind of been slacking. But I just updated it today so you can find the new project that I have out, which is A Time to Remember. Yes. And as well as my last project, The Misinterpreters, as well as, a podcast, the music and the services that I provide with my music, with engineering and mixing and mastering and things like that, as well as where to find the sax jam sessions. If you have any questions and things like that, I'm really free to answer and things and stuff like that on mine. But yeah, it's really fun. I enjoy seeing things grow the right positive way, not just being on it and having it, sucking the energy out of you. So I have spoken for 29 minutes on Anchor, but 27 minutes on YouTube because it was delayed. But as you guys know, since I use Anchor, it only allows you to record sorry, I'm making for all this noise. Only allows you to record for 30 minutes. So I'm going to stop this because it's at 29:30, and then on the back end wrap it up. But yeah, this episode kind of was more of just like not a refresher, but kind of like a reminder, to stay humble, to stay woke, to stay true to yourself, and to stay, only you, nothing wrong with just being you. If anybody else has a problem with that, they can kick rocks. You know what I mean? You should be you all the time, not have to be extra or put on a front or anything like that. So I'm going to stop this and then start again. But yeah. Yeah, the one thing I like about, let me do this first. Let me not start talking before I click it. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, can't be talking. The one thing I do like about some of the episodes and topics that I pick, because I try not to pick or have it pre-written already, because I kind of like to have it flow. Because as you can see, I kind of talk about everything, and I kind of try to come back to the topic or the title. But I do like some of the episodes that I have that kind of like a generic type of like a refresher type of thing versus like just a talk for half an hour. Like I used to talk, I can't do it anymore. um, Not that I can't, but just some titles and some episodes require, 30-minute, 40-minute episode versus like back when I was doing like an hour, hour and a half type episode, things like that. But yeah, so what is it? Yeah. So really, I just wanted to come on here and just remind everybody who listening to this, who's watching this, or who checks it out later. And I do appreciate everybody who streams it, who watches it, who downloads it. I do see you guys, so thank you. It wouldn't be here without your supports. I really do appreciate it. And I am still a new underground artist. I am trying, so I appreciate you guys rocking with me. And some of you have been rocking with me since back when I was doing just the book. So I do appreciate that. Slowly but surely we'll get there. Big things are happening and big things are coming soon this summer. Summer is what, next week? Next Monday, I think? A week? Monday, yeah. So big things are happening. So I do appreciate you guys who are rocking with me. I mean, I know I'm not kind of like known yet and all over the place and blah, blah, blah. But, I enjoy what I do. That's really what it's all about. If you enjoy what you do and have fun with what you do, then really the fruit and the labor will come later. But yeah, guys, all I really want to say is to stay true to yourselves, stay humble, and stay pure. Once you start chipping away at your beauty, chipping away at your perfectness, chipping away at your greatness, things kind of get a little hectic-y. That a word, just made it up. But maybe it is a word. I don't know. Don't quote me. But yeah, once you guys start kind of settling for what's comfortable, settling for what's easy, or I feel like it gets a little lost in the sauce of who you really truly are. Nothing wrong, like I said, with changing and adjusting, but don't really lose sight of the greatness that is you and the greatness that you can give to this world and the greatness that you can give to the society. Really, you can't help it, because I feel like what we have, each of us individuals have to contribute to society and contribute to the next generation and contribute as a legacy. I feel it's a lot and it's a beautiful thing. And once we tap into that, and once we realize what that is and that we have the power to do anything, then I think it would be a beautiful sight when it happens for each of us in our own time. Everything can't happen overnight. I wish it could. I really do. But everything happens in its own time. So just stay patient. I promise it'll get better. But yeah, guys, that's about it. I'm doing a little better now. I said under 40 minutes would be the new PureSessions limit, and I'm at about 32. So woo woo. But yeah, guys, that's about it. But you guys can find me on Instagram, Lana and Pure's Corner, and Lana and Pure, and also my website's in the bio on Instagram, www.lepentertainment.com, which is also my record label. My new project, A Time to Remember, is out. I'm excited about that. You can find that on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, all over the place. It's cool. You guys will like it. It's definitely a different vibe. It's kind of like electronic dub, techno vibe. So you guys should rock with this. Not as much as my last project, The Misinterpreters, which is 28 songs. This is only about 14. So yeah. What else? So yeah, the jam sessions every Wednesday now, 8 p.m. Stay tuned for next week. Got more exciting things to show you. And Pure Sessions is now on Thursdays. I'm going to keep it on Thursdays. Like I said, I was going to give it a trial, like a week trial, which I did. But I'm going to keep it on Thursdays now. So it's on Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Lana and Pure's Corner on Instagram, and Lana and Pure on YouTube. And the Sax Jam Sessions on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. on the Lana and Pure on Instagram, and Lana and Pure on YouTube. And what else? I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. Oh, also for all the fathers out there, for the new fathers who are going to be fathers, for the older fathers, happy Father's Day. Because I know I won't see you guys till after Father's Day, but you guys deserve the world. I know it's not really shown or said, but you guys deserve the world. But yeah, guys, that's about it. So do something today that you didn't do the day before, and have a blessed weekend. Peace.